All right, so looking at worksheet, this one isn't labeled, but it's got to be worksheet 4, right? No, 4 and 5 were yesterday, so this is worksheet 6. Unlabeled, but worksheet 6. Word problem steps, especially for conics. The first one, probably the most important, is pick the origin. Figure out where you want the origin to be. You can pick anywhere you want, so there's not a wrong pick, there's just better picks and worse picks. So you get to pick where you want it to be, but if you pick it wisely, it makes life a little bit easier. In fact, we should probably go ahead and say, we usually put the center at the origin. Or maybe we should say put the origin at the center, but we want the center of our conic to be at the origin of the graph. Almost always. That will make life a little bit easier when it comes to writing the equation. Step 2 is write the equation. Those have to go in that order, because you can't write the equation if you don't know where the center is, because you don't know how far up, over, left, right, up, down, all that stuff to go. So assign the origin to your picture, then you can write the equation, and then worry about answering the question. So most of these you're going to read through, and the question you're going to think, what in the world? How do I answer that? Well, slow down, pick the origin, write the equation, and then worry about answering the question. So we're going to do number 1 and 4 together. All right, the Statuary Hall in the U.S. Capitol is elliptical. It measures 46 feet wide and 96 feet long. If a person is standing at one focus, her whispers can be heard by a person standing at the other focus. Ellipses work like that. They're called like whisper rooms. If you've ever been in one, like at a science museum or something, you can stand inside of an elliptical cone or an elliptical shaped room, and you can be 30 feet across, and you can say something really soft, and because of the way things bounce and land at the other spot, the other person can hear you even if there's other people talking in there. It's kind of interesting. So that's what this is about. How far apart are the two people? Again, I don't know how far apart the two people are, but let's draw the picture. That probably should have been step 0. Let's change this. Draw the picture. Step 0. Or step 1/2 if you don't like a 0 step. Step 0. How far apart are the two people? I don't know. Let's draw the picture first. Elliptical. So I think a top-down view of this room. And again, I want to put the origin at the center. That way, some of the equation will be a little bit easier. All right, it's 96 feet long. And I'm trying not to label this in the ellipse. And 46 feet wide. And if that's my origin, then I can start writing the equation. So I'll draw the picture, pick the origin, write the equation. So x squared over something plus y squared over something equals 1. And again, if you put the origin at the center, then you won't ever have anything with x and y. So that's the main reason to put it at the center. That way at least that part of the equation will be not easier. All right, what number should go under x? That's what a lot of people say. But it's not 96 and it's not 96 squared.
Oh, it's half of 96.
Good, it's half of 96 squared. So half of 96. By the way, today's definitely a calculator day because you're going to have some big numbers and you're going to be squaring big numbers. Yes. And in fact, it might be easier to just leave that as 48 squared rather than writing out whatever big number that is. Plus, that helps you remember where it comes from. So later, if I need that number, I'll get it. But right now, I'm going to leave it as 48 squared. All right, how about what number goes under y?
23.
Careful, 23 squared. All right, so we drew the picture, put the center at the origin, we wrote the equation. Now we're ready to answer the question, how far apart are the two people? Well, they're standing at the focus. So I want to know how far it is from focus to focus. I don't really know that, but I do know how far it is from origin to focus, or from center to focus. I mean, I don't know how far it is for this problem yet, but I know a way to get that. What's C equal to for an ellipse?
A squared plus B squared. Equals C squared. No, that's one of them.
Is it plus or is it minus?
Minus, because the middle one is plus.
Yep, it's minus. So that distance from center to focus is 48 squared minus 23 squared. Again, I'm leaving them as squared. That way I don't have to write out the number. And it helps me remember where they came from. So C is the square root of 48 squared minus 23 squared. So grab a calculator and just type that in because I don't want to. Second square root, 48 squared minus 23 squared. So let's round to 2 decimals.
Square that.
So I don't want to square that.
No, but it's
42.13 feet. By the way, if you forget the square or square root, it'll probably make sense in terms of the picture. You'll probably figure that out. Like if you forgot to square root that and you're looking at 1775, hopefully you'd look at your picture and think, well, 1775 seems a little bit big for the picture. So the square root of 17.75 is 42.13. Is that my answer for this question?
no, you have to multiply that by 2.
I need to multiply that by 2. Good. So be super careful. You got to read what they're asking. You can't just go plug it in and say, "Oh, well, there's a formula. That's my answer." You got to read the question carefully. From focus to focus would be 2C. So 2 times that would be 84.26 feet. That's how far apart the people are. But again, there's no magic. There's no like, oh, the answer is 2C. I always find C and double it. No, you got to read the question carefully and answer whatever it's asking you. How far will they be from the closest wall? Well, it looks like the closest wall would be the end wall. How far from the closest wall? That would be this distance. Or maybe this distance is an easier one to think about. So how am I going to figure out what that is?
48 minus the focus.
Yeah, 48 minus the focus.
Minus C.
48 minus C. 48 minus 42.13. Again, there's no magic formula. You just got to read carefully and look at your picture that's hopefully labeled nice and neat.
5.87.
Thank you. 5.87. Make sure you put the right units on there. 5.87 feet.
I did get a response from Eli. He said not at school.
Yeah, he said not going. And I said, we miss you very much.
All right, let's skip down to number 4. In fact, you can kind of see number 2 and number 3. 2 is really similar. The base of an auditorium is in the form of an ellipse. So, real similar question. Number 3, an arch in the form of a semi-ellipse. You may not have heard that term before, but you can probably figure out what's a semi-ellipse. Half of an ellipse. Has a span of 150 feet. It's not a parabola, it's a semi-ellipse. And a height of 45 feet. We're just going to just barely start to set it up. So put your origin at the center, write the equation, and go from there. But let's jump to number 4. Pardon?
Why would that be the same? Half an ellipse.
Because it's half an ellipse. Number 4. The face of a one-lane tunnel is a square with a semicircle above it. A square, the semicircle above it. The semicircle has a diameter of 18 feet. So the entire width there is 18, but then it's a square, so all of those are 18. A truck that is 15 feet wide and 22 feet tall tries to drive through the tunnel. Will it make it? I don't know. How much or over or under will the truck be? Okay, well, we drew a picture. Let's pick the origin. Let's put the origin, again, you have options. You could put the origin down here, and then your height would be the y value, but I think I want to put the origin right here, and then I'll have to adjust for the height after that. But I think this is going to be the easier way to go. So that makes my circle equation pretty easy. X squared plus y squared equals, what's the radius? 9. Again, be careful about what they give you. So 9 squared. 9 squared is easy, so you could rewrite that as 81 or leave it as 9 squared, either way. Alright, a truck is 15 feet wide and 25 feet tall. And this is a one-lane tunnel. So if this truck wants to make it through, where, like, left and right should it drive if to have the best chance of making it? Right down the middle. It's a one-lane tunnel. So it's okay. Alright, the truck is 15 feet wide. We don't know how tall the circle is. So there's my truck. And I really want to know where this point lands to see if it's inside the circle or outside the circle. Because if it's outside the circle, we have a major problem. The tunnel's gonna collapse, or the truck's gonna get messed up. What's the x coordinate of that? Can you figure out what the x coordinate is? If the truck is 15 feet across, if the truck is 15 feet wide, he's going right down the middle, then 7.5. Because half. So, assuming he's going straight down the middle, it's the best chance to get through. So 7.5 on either side. So if x is 7.5, let's figure out what y is. Let's figure out what y is of the circle. So 7.5 squared plus y squared equals 81. So again, some calculator here because I don't want to do that by hand. Square root 81 minus 7.5 squared. .97 feet.
If the top line is 0, right?
The top line, what do you mean? This top line is 0?
Yeah.
Yeah?
It's 4 feet above the 18.
Yes. So the truck is 4 feet above. That's right. The truck is 4 feet above the top of the, yes, the top of the square.
So
The circle, this is for my circle. The circle is at 4.97 feet high.
I thought you were trying to get the point of the corner of the...
Yeah, I probably said that wrong. Like we want to see where the... So
it'll still fit.
So it'll fit. Will it make it? Yes. By how much? By 0.97. Yeah, that's...
I just go around the tunnel.
1 foot.
There's gotta be a
I mean, that's...
somewhere.
Dude,
I've got a ruler down here somewhere.
I couldn't do that.
That's how much clearance he has? That's maybe a little scary.
Imagine if he hits your phone.
Just drive really fast so it doesn't take as long.
I don't know that that's the best plan.
Dude, just like
All right, so that's the two I wanted to work. The assignment is the rest of them. I will post the odd answers, and they'll be available in class, so you guys at home can find them online. So I'll post the odd answers in just a minute. Just a minute. By our people at home are still asleep right now while we're recording. So by 8:15 or so, the odd answers will be posted.